Hello, welcome to my channel again. Today's video, I've had some people interested in my envelope budgeting and they want to see how I do it. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And to keep this from being extremely long, I'm going to just jump right into it. And I realize you're having trouble seeing what's on the table here. I can't get my tripod positioned any closer to show it. So I'll just kind of talk you through everything. These are all the supplies that you need to do the budgeting thing. Envelopes, index cards, magic marker, notebook from the Dollar Tree, and when you start out, you can use these kind of envelopes. I stopped doing them because the money was falling out through here. And keeping them in and out of your purse like that, they were getting raggedy. And I always keep 2 envelopes in my purse at all times. So to stop them from getting ragged, I just went to Walmart and I got these bags. They're zipper, they're makeup, they're plastic, and they work really good. Okay, the first thing you need to do when you're setting this budget thing up, and I've done this budgeting thing now for 3 years, and it works really good for me. I've tweaked some of the things that I did in it. And I don't know if I'm doing it right or not, but it works for me, so I'm going to continue doing it. The first thing you need to do is go and set up a budget. If you don't already have a budget set up, that's the first thing you need to do. And you write down in this budget everything that you use or buy or think you might buy for a month. Now, this is not my actual budget. This is one that I've made up to show you. And I don't know if you can even see it. Over here on this side, you put down everything that calls for the month. And then you divide it by 4. And on this side, you put the weekly amount. If something comes up, like on this cable here, that's $150. When you divide it, it comes $37.50. I round it up to the nearest dollar. So I put $38. So that's the first thing you need to do. Figure out exactly what you think you're going to need to live for the month and write it down for the month and then split it up weekly. And all those things that I had on there, on this card, this is the weekly amount. Total comes to $535. Now, if you're figuring your budget up and this amount here comes out to more than what you're bringing in, there's your problem right there. You're going to have to go back into that budget and eliminate something or cut back on something. Like on your groceries, you could cut back on that. You could try to make your utility bills be a little lower. You can't change your car and your rent payments. I know that. But you could cut cable off. You wouldn't have to have cable TV. I've got that on there. You could quit smoking or cut back on smoking. There's ways that you could tweak it, but you're going to have to get your amount to where everything on your budget comes to less than what you're totaling up here. So after I figure everything out by this amount, I go on the back side and I figure out in denominations. I hope you can see these. $100, 50, 20, 10, 5. And I write down how many of each of those I'm going to need. Like I had for the car, I make one little tally mark. For the cable, 38, I would put a 20, a 10, a 5, and 3 ones. And you do that for each of the things that's on the back side. And this is what you take to the bank. Now, I would recommend transferring this to another page, another paper, instead of handing it to them, because if they turn it over and they see this, it gets confused. I used to do that, and they'd be like, I don't know what to give you back. This right here is what you want them to give you back. And the reason you do that is so when you come home, you can fill your envelopes to the exact amount. You'll have the correct change that you need. Now, I have this budget figured out for like a 2-person household working with income, and figuring that they would bring home $700 a week between the 2 of them. So if your budget is for $535, let me get it where you can see it, and you're taking it to the bank to get that, out of $700, you'll have $165 left over. Take that $165 and put it in an emergency fund envelope, because you never know what's going to come up that you don't have budgeted for because you didn't realize it was going to happen. Back in the day, if I'd done that after I had paid my bills, I'd take that $165 and blow it. But I don't do that anymore. I was constantly broke. Things were always late. They never got paid on time. I was getting shut-off notices. I was getting late notices. That's never happened since I've done this budgeting thing. Then you take your index cards and you write on these index cards everything that's in your budget and how much weekly you're going to put into it. Like this. I don't have anything written on this. This is miscellaneous. But I do on this. This is your insurance envelope. This is your car envelope. When you get home from the bank, you'll take your bank envelope that has your money in it. You'll take it out, and if you figured out your denominations, you should have your exact change to put in your envelopes. So you're going to take your car envelope that you've budgeted for $100, and you've asked them at the bank to give you a $100 bill. And you stick that in the envelope, and you leave it there. Your insurance is $32. You've asked them at the bank to give you a 20, a 10, and 2 ones. You take that, you put it in there, and you leave it in there. Now, if you do this every week and you don't get into those envelopes, when your insurance comes due, you should have the full amount to pay it. Same thing on your car, your rent, anything else. As long as you put it in those envelopes and you don't touch it, except for the food and gasoline for your car. That you will touch. So let's say, for instance, that you've taken your miscellaneous money, however much you figure on here, and you went to Walmart and you bought a few things, and you come home, and when they hand you your receipt and your change at the store, you stick it inside of the envelope that you took it out of. Okay? And you leave it in there. Next week, you're going to add that same amount that you added back in there to this leftover money. But when you get home, you're going to take your receipt out. Always get your receipts. Keep all your receipts. You're going to make a little notation at the top. Miscellaneous, whatever it was, food, gas, car, whatever it was. And you're going to have a little notebook that you've bought at the Dollar Tree that you're going to keep 1 month at a time in here of everything that you're spending money on. You'll have one side of it will be in budget, the other side will be out of budget. And each time you make a payment on your car, you'll write that down in here and you'll put a number 1 beside it. That tells you you've put 1 payment in there. Groceries that week, the first week, you only spent $22.17. You allow $50, so you'll have some extra in your envelope. Next week, when you put your $50 in there, it'll go in there with this. Same thing on your rent, your smokes. I think I had $20 on smokes. Let's say you spent $10. You'll put that in the envelope and leave it in there. You'll write it in this book, and next week you'll add to it. On the miscellaneous thing that you bought at Walmart, over on your out of budget, because you weren't expecting that, you're going to write the name of the store that you spent it at and how much. At the end of the month, all these things will be totaled, and you can look at it and see areas that you're overspending, that you have too much money and you can cut back on, and you can tweak your budget. You're going to have to tweak your budget from time to time. Once you make that first budget, it won't always stay that same. I tweak mine like once every 3 months. So then you take this receipt after you've wrote at the top, what it was, groceries, food, miscellaneous, out of budget, something that you didn't plan for, like let's say your microwave broke and you had to get a new microwave, you'll write up here, out of budget, microwave or whatever. And then you have these envelopes here that you set up for the monthly, and you put the month that it is in the year. You take all your receipts from that month and put them in that envelope. At the end of the month, that envelope gets sealed and you put it away somewhere. There's been times when I've had to go back to these envelopes and get receipts out for something. So you need to do that to keep track of it. And everything in here will match up with this. And I think that pretty well covers it. Like I said, you could start off using these paper envelopes to start. But I liked going with the plastic ones because they just hold up better when they're in your purse, and you're taking them in and out. I keep my food and my gas envelope in my car all the time, so that when my car tank's running low on gas, I don't have to say, "Oh, whoa, I need to go to the house." I've always got it. So that's how I do it. I hope this was understandable, and I realize you can't see a lot of this stuff on the table here because I tried to get my tripod as close as I could, and I couldn't. So anyway, thank you for coming back to my channel. I appreciate it. Any new subbies out there might consider subscribing, and I hope this helped somebody out. Maybe it wouldn't. I hope I wasn't too confusing on trying to explain it. I just know that I've been doing this, like I said, for like the last 3 years, and my life's been so much better. I always have the money to pay for the things I need, and I don't have bill collectors sending me duns in the mail, knocking on my door wanting money that I don't have because I always set it aside. I take it out every week from my paycheck at the store, and then my monthly check that I get from Social Security, I've had that set up to where I don't do an envelope on that, but I take my rent, my car payment, and my car insurance directly out of that as soon as it gets to me, my Social Security. Everything else I use the envelopes for. So thanks, and y'all come back and see me anytime. Bye.